Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Big Valley Living. My name is Michelle, and I am a stage 4 colon cancer patient in the United States of America. This is an update for August 1st, 2025. I am currently undergoing treatment. I just finished round 10 out of 12 of Avastin plus Folfiri. I explained more of that about 2 videos ago, so if you'd like more information about that, you can go down to my playlist, which is called My Journey, and you can find out more information about the actual treatment that I'm undergoing right now. But I just finished round 10 yesterday morning out of 12. Pardon me, and my voice is going to come in and out a little bit because of the steroids that I have to take to help mitigate the nausea. Before I go much further, I want to let you know that I appreciate everybody coming in, all of your support, all of the new subscribers, all of the existing subscribers, and those of you who don't subscribe is totally fine. Thank you for dropping in, watching my videos, and hopefully liking them, sharing them with people who can benefit from this information. I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional. I am a cancer patient undergoing treatment, and I am sharing my experience. That's all this is. These videos are not meant to take the place of any kind of medical advice. If you think that you have an issue, you need to call your medical professional team and discuss with them whatever concerns that you might have. So I want to let you know that this particular round started back up after 6 weeks of, let's call it a little bit of a treatment vacation. We had a couple of things going on. One was that I wanted to attend a family reunion. Given the fact that I have stage 4 cancer, quite frankly, there are no guarantees. There's no guarantee for anybody for tomorrow, right? And I really wanted to go and visit with family and friends that I only get to see every other year. So my husband and I did take a treatment break, and that was a planned 2-session break. But before that happened, I actually ran into some snafus trying to get the PET scan that I needed to see how the treatment had been working to that point. And so around the around the middle of June, I stopped treatment because we couldn't get a good PET scan to see if the Avastin plus Folfiri was working to reduce. The PET scan was designed to see if the tumors are reducing in size following all the treatment that I'm going through. Now, after several attempts, which I went through in my last video, we were able to get a good comparable PET scan, and that scan did show that the tumors that were larger were shrinking. I don't know that the smaller ones, any of them disappeared, but nothing was growing. And at that point, I was very happy because you never know, right? So what I did was during the time that we were trying to get a good PET scan, we were also doing CEA tests, which is carcinoembryonic antigen tests. I hope I said that right. I think I have it memorized now. And that's a pretty common cancer marker test if you have colon or colorectal cancer, as well as a few others. If you're curious to see what those tests cover, you're welcome to Google that information. But in my case, that is a test that we can look at to see if it looks like the activity is increasing or decreasing or staying normal. And it's kind of been all over the charts. In fact, my CEA is somewhat disturbing to me right now because since September of 2024, it's gone from 2.4 to 8.6 to 17.4 to 18.9 to 14.9, and this past Friday, which was a week ago today, it was at 21.9. Under 5 is what you're aiming for no cancer like growth or activity. So there's clearly activity going on, even though I am undergoing a pretty intensive chemotherapy treatment. I'm keeping my eyes on that, but I am also heeding my oncologist's advice not to let that get too much into my head. He said, let's keep our eyes on what we're doing. The tumors have shrunk. The PET scan has shown that. And so I am trying to, I keep it mindful. I'm mindful of my CEA results while not wanting to get so hung up on them that I paralyze myself with fear, with anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety comes with having cancer, going through treatment. Here's a good example. I hadn't had treatment for 6 weeks, and I was starting to feel somewhat normal. You know, my head was a little bit clearer, just a lot of different things. I was feeling better in many different ways. And I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, I was starting to feel a lot better. But then, you know, I'm coming up on Tuesday morning. I have to go in and start it again. I only have 3 more sessions to go. I have to do sessions 10, 11, and 12. And then I'll be finished with this round of infusion chemotherapy, which is Avastin plus Folfiri. I know I've said that a few times, but I will continue to say that. I slept fairly well on Monday night. Whenever I am getting ready to start a treatment, I get a little bit more anxiety than normal, which makes sleeping difficult, as you can imagine. You want to get as many things done and planned around your house as you can. While I was feeling good and I had a little bit more strength, I wanted to get straightening up, maybe going through some old clothes that I wanted to get rid of. It's just take advantage of the energy that I did have so that when I went into these last 3 rounds, I wouldn't feel like I was behind the 8 ball on little projects that I wanted to get finished around the house that will make my life easier, quite frankly, while I'm going through treatment. My husband was also working feverishly with me to help me get all these little things done. I guess his were honeydews. But we did have a lot to do in addition to being on vacation and dealing with all of that. We had friends and family helping us, and they were tremendously helpful while we were out of town because it was the hottest week of July, of course, while we were gone. And the amount of things that they did around our house to make our lives easier when we got home is invaluable. And so thank you to my Ethel. I'm her Lucy, and she's my Ethel. And thanks also to my brother and his family and my niece for coming in and helping. It was very, very nice to come home to a house that wasn't full of a lot of things that had to be done right before I had to start treatment back up. So I appreciate that. And if you have that kind of help in your life, you know what a blessing it is. So I went in on Tuesday morning to infusion, and I was nervous. I was full of anxiety for sure. And excuse me. And when I went in, my blood pressure has to be taken. All your vitals are taken because you have to meet certain thresholds so that they can give you the treatment at all. One for me is a protein urine test to make sure my proteins aren't too high, meaning that my kidney function might not be at its best. The other thing is, you know, your blood pressure, your temperature. Well, my blood pressure is usually pretty decent. You know, it's usually about 120 to 75 or 80. When I went in on Tuesday morning, it was 158 over 89. That is incredibly high. So I sat down for a few minutes, had a little bit of water. I hadn't had any coffee or anything that morning either, by the way, to raise my blood pressure. But I took some deep breaths in and blew out and calmed down a little bit. And we got down into the low 130s. So treatment progressed. And because I have been off of treatment for about 6 weeks, I took it a lot better than I thought I would. It was really building up in my system prior to taking the break for the PET scans and all of the other things that we did and had planned. So this time I tolerated it quite well, and I guess I didn't have to be as nervous as I was the other day. So, oh my God, excuse me. So I went through this treatment, and I had my 5FU ball was disconnected yesterday, which was July 31st, 2025. And I have had plenty of time to rest when I've needed it. And I've had a decent amount of energy. And even though I'm taking the steroids, I was also able to get some relaxation and get some sleep over the last 2 days. And I think taking a break from it's dexamethasone, taking a break from that even for 6 weeks has really helped, like, my anxiety level go down a little bit, and just to feel better overall. Steroids don't do anything for me except keep me awake at night and make my mind race. I think that's what they do for everybody. They also give me cravings for food that I don't normally crave. And since going and taking that break, I've actually gained 7 pounds back, which is not a bad thing, but I'm heavy enough where I can stand to lose weight. So I am keeping an eye on my weight. I'm keeping an eye on the foods that I ingest. I'm keeping an eye on just my diet in general, as well as making sure that I move and stretch and get exercise, whether it be in the garden or taking the dogs for a walk, whatever I can do to keep moving, park in the back of the parking lot, all those little things. All those little things add up. And I'm being extremely mindful about keeping that way. So at this point, we have 2 more sessions to go. I'll go in about 11 days, 10 or 11 days for round 11. And then 2 weeks after that, I go in for my final round, which is round 12. At the end of that, my doctor and I will sit down, and we're not going to get a PET scan too soon because he doesn't want to load my body up with too much radiation. So, or the exposure, I should say, to the PET scan itself. I don't want to speak out of turn. But we'll talk about it, and the plan is that I will go in for Avastin infusions every 3 weeks as a form of maintenance to keep the tumors from growing, keep the tumors from spreading. I don't think that they'll eradicate them, but the idea is that we keep this cancer in check. And at this point, that is what we're trying to do. I do want to let you know that I appreciate everybody's comments and questions about, have I looked into various things such as alternative treatments. I am looking at current studies that are going on in the event that we run out of tools to use in our own wheelhouse. And I'm going to be working with my doctor. I did look and see that that Stanford University and the University of San Francisco, which are both about 95 miles away from where we live, are joining forces to do some cancer research. So that kind of makes me feel good because that's a resource that I might be able to take advantage of in the future. So I'll be talking to my oncologist about that. So right now, that's where we are as far as my treatment goes. Again, I am feeling pretty good, and I'm hopeful that I only have 2 more rounds to go, and I'm really hopeful that this is how I continue to feel. I did get my hair cut, and I want to thank my niece who just got her cosmetology license in California for cutting my hair last weekend. Thanks, MEK. It's probably one of my favorite haircuts. And I don't know, I may lose my hair, I may not. I'm not as concerned about any of that stuff. As far as the cancer goes, I just really want to keep living every day to the fullest and spreading as much kindness and joy in the world as I possibly can, raising awareness about colorectal cancers and all cancers, quite frankly, but in my experience is colorectal cancer. And so I would like you to share this with anybody or take this advice. If anything, in your body or your own microbiome feels wrong, if you have a change in bowel habits that hasn't gone away, and it could be anything from extreme diarrhea, it could be the inability to predict when you need to go, a low-grade upset stomach over a period of time, extreme constipation, anything like that, anything that makes you think something's just not right, please call your doctor and make an appointment and talk about it. Everybody and every animal poops, okay? And it's embarrassing to talk about these issues, but these discussions that you bring up with your doctor can save your life or prevent you from having to go through a lot of the treatments and surgeries that I've already undergone. That is the goal of these videos, is to make you understand that you are not alone. Colorectal cancer is the second leading cancer, and it is worldwide, and it is now hitting people at younger and younger ages. People in their 30s are getting it. It used to not even be looked at until you were about 50 years old in the United States. Now they're having cancer screenings at 45 as more of a baseline. So at the very least, open up the dialogue with your doctor if you're experiencing any problems, and get yourself a baseline checkup. If your doctor warrants that you need further testing, they'll certainly recommend that. So please, please, please take that advice. And I don't know if I'm going to do it yet or not, but it just has to do with observations in life in general lately. And I don't know if it's because I'm a cranky cancer lady or if it's because I'm just becoming a cranky old gal. But I think I'm going to do kind of a fun video here pretty soon. And just kind of, it's one of those, it'll kind of be a ponderable. Have you ever noticed? That kind of thing. If you remember Andy Rooney, it'll be along those lines. If I don't do it, don't be surprised, because I have the right to change my mind, right? Anyway, I would like to thank you all for stopping by once again. Please like this video, share this video, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell if you'd like to see future videos like this. And I just really, again, want to thank everybody who comes by and offers such kind words and caring and everything else. I'll see you later, everybody. Be kind.